Hello guys, Sendou here again. So today we have Splatoon 2 Basics 3, and the title of today's video is Choosing your Weapon. And really I believe this is one of the most fundamental questions in Splatoon, since you have to choose your weapon before you actually start playing. And indeed, like the title indicates, I think it's a choice you have to make. Because, you know, I know people who claim to play every weapon in the game. Like they say, just tell me what to play, I'll do it. Like they can say like I can snipe, or I can play shooters, or I can play slushing machine. Like I can play anything really. And yeah, maybe they actually believe this, but I don't think it's a thing personally. So when you claim to play every weapon in the game, I believe in fact what's happening is that you don't play any of them. Like you think you're playing every weapon, but actually you're playing none of them. And why is this? Well, there's no way you can know every weapon in the game, really. Because what I mean about knowing a weapon is that you know its weaknesses, you know its strengths. And I don't think this can happen if you don't focus weapons. Like if you just go from weapon to weapon, it's really hard for you to get to know one weapon really well. And also what can happen in this situation is that every time your play is not going well, you're like, okay, well, today I can play Rapid Blast, I just can't do it, I have to switch. And you like go to something completely different weapon, and you start playing that. And this might lead to a situation where every time you are not performing how you would like to, you think it's the weapon's fault. Like it's never anything about the weapon. And you can get kind of like this mental block, like, okay, I just can't play this weapon today. And it's always something about the weapon that you have to switch and whatnot. So that's why I personally think it's best idea to, at first, you just pick one weapon, right? You think, okay, what role do I want to play? Do I want to play a backliner? Then yeah, maybe heavy spatting would be a good choice, for sure. By backliner I mean someone who just, you know, stays back and abuses their range and kind of like anchors for the team. Anchoring meaning that you try to more like stay alive and give jumps to your teammates and so on. Or do you wanna offer turf support to your team? Just, you know, ink the ground mostly. Then maybe Chopper is a good choice. Or maybe you wanna slay people, you wanna kill people, which is admittedly something many people wanna do. Then maybe range splats is your choice. And like kinda like this, like trying to find the weapon that you would enjoy playing for countless of hours. And for my own weapon history, in Splatoon 1, first when I started competitive, I was a Splat Charger main, like I was playing Splat Charger. But with this weapon, especially in Splatoon 1, it was quite easy to see its weaknesses pretty soon. So we were at a time where E-Liter was the strongest it's ever been. Like E-Liter was so crazy when Splatoon 1 launched. So it was of course very hard for me to perform well with the shorter range charger. So what happened is that I actually switched completely off the weapon. So I wouldn't say I mastered the weapon, but I still gave it a fair shake. And ended up playing Luna Blaster after that. So Luna Blaster was something I played quite a bit back in the days. And I really did think I did reach close to like mastering the weapon. I got like maxing many times over and so on. But Luna Plus is kind of the same, like the more you play it, the more you see the fundamental weaknesses of the weapon. So I end up trying out Range Blaster, custom Range Blaster, which was like many people even back then said it was one of the best weapons in the game. And indeed it was quite Slayer in the Splatoon 1. And it's something I ended up playing probably the most in Splatoon 1. And also the weapon I ended up enjoying the most. Like I kept Luna around, I played for the maps where it's good at, but I kinda evolved to custom range blaster. And after that, I picked up Chink Mini. It's one of the like strong weapon, but also why I really picked it up is to have a turfing alternative, something that really inks the ground well. And you know, I had my blasters here, but they don't ink ground, so I always have this alternative when I play with teammates where I should be inking the ground more. And yeah, that's basically the main idea of this video is to say, okay, first choose a weapon that you would like to play for a long time and stick to it. Like learn it, learn its weaknesses, learn its strengths. It can't be anything more or less, I'd say. So let's say it's like L3. Okay, I played this for forever. Like I learned its ins and outs, and after that, maybe it's time to move on. Maybe I'm gonna learn some other weapon that does well on maps where L3 just doesn't perform. Or maybe I choose a weapon that's a bit better at slaying, since L3 is like primarily a support role. You know, it's really good at eking ground and so on, but maybe not so good at all times at like killing. And this is like one example. And I also want to talk a bit about choosing a niche weapon or like bad weapon or however you wanna call it, like weapon that doesn't like appear as often. So maybe it's just to take like Bamboozler as an example, since it's one of the weapons with very iconic playstyle, but still you don't see it often. Like it's not traditionally considered a strong weapon necessarily, but still something you see. Some weapon really like play a lot. Like some certain players play this weapon a lot. And yeah, sure. In some cases, there are players who end up performing the best with weapons that are not considered strong in the game. Like there's examples of that. Like Lean was really good at Skiffer. Like that's when Lean got most of his like fame was playing Skiffer. And Skiffer was not considered a strong weapon in Splatoon 1, but it fit Lean's playstyle and Lean made it work. So that's just one example of where someone picks up a weapon that's not necessarily strong, but then ends up doing well with it. And also, of course, like you can't like disregard enjoyment. Like maybe you just happen to enjoy this weapon more than anything else, and that's fine too. Like honestly, I don't think you can ever become really good with a weapon you don't enjoy playing, because then you can't really grind it enough, you can't really play it enough. So maybe if this is the weapon you can enjoy, then yeah, go for it. And I just want to make sure you are make these choices for the right reasons. So with right reasons, I mean that, okay, there are players who play some really bizarre weapons, like they can play, for example, I don't know, maybe Aerospray right now, it's back to that status. So maybe you play Aerospray, okay, well, then you have to know what you're doing, like, because some people I hear saying that, you know, I'm playing Aerospray, and then at the same time, you can see them post like really angry messages, like, why am I losing to people who only play this, like these strong weapons and so on. Like they don't really see the weapon as it is, and they don't really see the weapon with its weaknesses and its strengths. Instead, they might choose it for like to have an excuse for when they lose. Like they can say to themselves, well, what if I played like a strong weapon like all these other characters, whatever. And closely related to this is the idea that, you know, everyone has to do something special. Like there are some people who are known for doing one specific thing, but I think it's kind of like the false thing to do is to chase after that. So you don't like, not everyone has to be like unique player or like do something special. Like personally, I think just, you know, performing well. Like it's a competitive game, right? It's a competitive scene, so just performing well and winning is, I think, plenty. You don't have to win and do something special. It's enough that you win, honestly, when it's competitive gaming. And definitely, if you end up playing like a niche weapons like Bamboozler, you know, okay, we have gone through the points before, and we end up with Bamboozler, and that's fine. But once you end up with Bamboozler, you really have to know this weapon better than maybe some players playing stronger weapons have to know it. You really have to know like everything about the weapon. You really have to know its weaknesses and how people can abuse them and how you can play around that. And you also have to know the other weapons really well. You have to know all the matchups really well, especially against the popular weapons. You actually, like, what I recommend doing is, even if you choose like a niche weapon like Bamboozler, you still would have some experience with the stronger weapons, so you know how to play around them. And yeah, this is a completely valid thing to do. Just know that you are basically always going to be fighting an uphill fight if you chose this route. But yeah, this is the route that some people chose, and it's it's okay. Like it's that's not the idea of this weapon, because every time there's a video like that, I feel like some people are really like hurt or like get in a defensive stance. Like, why are you telling me what to play? Why can't I just play what I want to play? And for sure, just play what you want to play. This video is primarily aimed for people who, you know, maybe are starting out or not starting out, but had the common factor that they wanna improve, and their primary concern is like improving their game, or their primary concern is like the win. And yeah, if your primary concern is just to have fun, then I don't think you need YouTube tutorials to do that. And just to bring the niche part to a close, I can talk about Dynamon. So Dynamon, as you know, like, is one of the more known Japanese players. You probably know him from the E3 event where he played for Team Japan. And even his name says like, this man loves Dynamo. And you see him play Dynamo. Yeah, even now he plays Dynamo when it's not a weapon that many consider strong, or like it has obvious weaknesses in this game. It's not that great at inking anymore compared to some other weapons, and it's not even that great at killing. So, but it's still a very distinct weapon. It's a very different weapon from many other choices. So you have Dynamon, who's now playing this weapon and actually been winning some tournaments with it, as far as I can tell. But he probably knows the weaknesses of this weapon better than anyone else, and he knows the strengths better than anyone else. So he's playing it despite that, and he's like trying to play around it, and he's a really smart player who knows what they're doing. And this is just one example of someone performing with a weapon that's not popular. But yeah, for everyone else, just remember this, that every time you choose a weapon that's necessarily not... it's basically lacking in some sense. You're also putting a bit of a burden to your teammates, in the sense that, okay, maybe your teammates have to pick up in some area that you're lacking. Like maybe you're playing a weapon that just doesn't ink at all, and it's not that great at killing. So you're putting a more of a like expectation for your teammates to fill up these gaps. So just know that you might be leading them into a situation like that. But yeah, I won't be putting any like, I won't be telling you, don't play this weapon, play this weapon, don't play this weapon, play this weapon, and so on and so on, because the game is changing rapidly. We're getting a new patch in just 1 month, and every week someone's learning something new about the new weapon. So if I tell you now that don't play QTuber, like who knows, maybe next patch is like crazy strong. So this video will be quickly very obsolete. So I won't be telling you that. Instead, you have to do your own experimentation, and maybe finding out what weapons would fit you the best. And yeah, I think that's about what I'm going to say, and thanks for watching. I'll be back, and if you have any questions or comments, feel free. And yeah, thanks for watching.